And away we go. It is the Nightcap, live Thursday night edition, right here on BearcatJournal.com, www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app. They can get you your Galactic fix pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop, straight from the app, or you can go down to Dayton, Kentucky, tell them to pump it up, and save yourself 15% off of the Galactic goodness. That's what we haven't had in a long time, Kels. Galactic. Maybe tomorrow night. What do you think? Huh? Let's get to it. Joined by I bought a box of freaking croissants and they're not good. Like 2 days ago. Frustrating. Anyhow. We are on our Thursday night live show, Three Keys. Garrett Campbell last week, Keegan Nickerson this week. Garrett will be back next week. And then 2 weeks from now, I think we have another former player that will be joining us for these shows, live shows on Thursday night. I believe he is still the Bearcat with the most starts in program history. So a pretty prominent name in Bearcat football history. So we've got Garrett for the offensive side of the ball, and then we'll let you know in a couple weeks exactly who we have to cover the defensive side of the ball. But let's get to it. Keegan joining us tonight, filling in. He does not lead the Bearcats in all-time starts.
Nope.
But according to our membership, he is a rising star.
Yes. I try. I'm trying my hardest. So
I was gonna tell him, like, I'm not asking him to do this much work. He just works. So it is what it is. First off, as we're letting some people get in here, I've been asked a bunch of times about the recipe for the cheese coney sliders, and I didn't feel like typing it out. So as we're gathering members here, and I am getting this tweet out, I figured I would just give you like the walkthrough on how to make the cheese coney sliders. So 2 pounds of ground beef, a packet of Cincinnati chili seasoning, whatever is your favorite, wherever you can find it. So you brown the ground beef, and then you drain a little bit of the fat and put the Cincinnati chili seasoning in. You mix that up a little bit. You dice up some hot dogs. So you just got little tiny bite-sized pieces of hot dogs mixed in with the hamburger. And then a small block of Velveeta cheese is the key. That's the binder. Like one of the little ones. You cut that up. You put it in there. You let the Velveeta cheese melt down. So you got your mixture. If you like onions on your conies, this is when you would either put the onions in or you can put them on raw. You slice the large pack of King's Hawaiian rolls in half. You put the meat mixture down on the buns, cover it with shredded cheese and mustard and the onions. If the onions are your thing, you get some garlic butter and you brush that over the top of the Hawaiian rolls. You put it in the oven for about 10, 12 minutes. That'll brown up nicely, and you have cheese coney sliders. It's very simple, but they're delicious. You got one, didn't you? Was it Brent that didn't get one?
I didn't get
one. Or was it you that didn't? Oh, Aaron got there just a touch late and didn't get one. Dave wants to know, Keegan, if you're going to make it to a tailgate, or if you're too hoity-toity and you go into the stadium before it's time.
I will beat the tailgate this week.
Okay. You're going to try some cheese coney sliders?
Yeah. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
Send her to bed.
Aaron said go to bed. You have school tomorrow. She said you go to bed.
She's clearly concussed.
She's allowed to go back to school tomorrow morning. So she gets a half a day tomorrow to reacclimate back into school. We'll see how it goes. All right. I think we've got some folks in here. We're getting on track a little bit. So let's get right to 3 keys for the Miami Redhawks. And since Keegan, you are the guest today, Keegan taking Jello shots before the game.
I'm good. I'm good on that.
Keegan, let's see your 3 keys.
Okay. So my 3 keys to victory for the Bearcats in the 127th rendition of the Victor Bell. Also, the 100-year anniversary of the first night game ever played in college football, which is it's thought to be, which was on campus at UC. The first one is to I need to get to the race screen. Establish the run. So you obviously aren't going to be taking deep shots downfield like you did against EKU, like you kind of did against Pitt. But this is a big opportunity to create momentum for Corey Kiner going on to the rest of the season, and especially Oklahoma next week. It's also a great opportunity for the offensive line to continue to show their dominance and their consistency, because they were such a question mark coming in of how they were going to gel and acclimate with each other, which it's been pretty good so far. So establishing the run against Miami would be a great thing to do. Miami, Florida was able to do it pretty easily, so I would expect the Bearcats to be able to do so as well. Don't get over aggressive on defense. Now, this key is mainly.
I disagree. Get after him.
No, this key is mainly at DeSean Pace, because I saw him get a little too excited against EKU and let up some bigger plays, leading to most of EKU's offense during that first week. So obviously, is it Langevin? What's his last name? How do you pronounce it?
Legavine. I don't know.
You know what? The guy who's averaging 176 receiving.
Larvadane.
Larvadane.
Okay.
Yeah, Larvadane. Yeah.
So obviously they're going to have multiple guys on him at all times, and you're not going to want him to beat you, because that's really the only way Miami can beat you. But I saw Miami, Florida get to the quarterback. That's going to be so confusing. Keep on talking about the Miami and Miami. Let Daniel Greshik, Dante Corleone, Jawan Briggs, and Eric Phillips do what they're going to do. There isn't a reason to bring a bunch of DBs off the edge, linebackers in. You can do it every now and then, but that's not something that you need to do. Just wait until my 3rd key, and then you can get all excited. So let that front 4 dominate like they have all
He doesn't
season.
know how this works, Aaron. We get after it on each key.
Boo!
But don't let any big plays hurt you in gambles on defense. That's basically the long and short of it. Trace, keep the creative play calling on offense. On offense, can you just let me explain myself before you try to take me out back? Oh my gosh!
That's what we do here.
Scott Satterfield's
about.
He's talked about the aggressive play calling and how it builds confidence. And I don't think this is an occasion where you just kind of mail it in. Yes, establish the run, but I want to see Emory Jones taking shots downfield. I wouldn't mind to see Braden Smith throw another pass. I want to see the read option with both Aaron Turner, D. Wiggins, Braden Smith. And I want to see Aaron Turner taking end arounds like he has been all season. So I don't want this to be a really simple let them take what the defense gives you, even though that's the basic nature of Scott Satterfield's offense. I want to see some shots downfield, continue to build momentum, show the country that you can do this, and then go into Oklahoma with a lot of momentum. So those are my 3 keys.
You've been warned, Keegan. Did someone say Jello shots by Dave Simone?
Keegan.
Go ahead.
Don't be aggressive. Aaron, go ahead.
All right. Find my screen here.
Why prepare?
Producer extraordinaire.
That's what I'm here for. It's fine. Here we go. My first key to victory this week. The front seven need to make Gabbert very uncomfortable. More than the front three, Keegan. The front seven. Blitz all you want. Whatever it takes so that this quarterback cannot get into any type of rhythm with Larvadane or whoever else, because if they put somebody over top or come underneath for Larvadane, then that's going to leave somebody else a little more open than it would otherwise. So the front seven needs to do whatever they can do to put Gabbert on his ass. 7, not 4, 3. Get out of here.
Why have people in pass coverage?
Well, hopefully he doesn't get a pass off. Hopefully he looks as uncomfortable as Jerkovich last week. Key to victory number 2, the offense needs to control the clock. This should be a game of possession, in which case the Bearcats have a ton of possession. And I think that is going to include, 35, 40 minutes of possession where they run up a score of 54.
How do you run up a score of 54 if you're just running the ball for 35?
I don't want them to just run the ball, but I think they need to have long drives. I think they need to sustain the ball to where they're just Miami's a bunch of 3 and outs.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay.
And number 3.
Here's where I'd say where you do have a chance to be right on that. They can't run the ball, and they can only throw to one guy.
Correct. So I'm saying they should have the ball plenty. And the key to victory number 3, Nippert Stadium needs to be nip at night nuts. This crowd needs to be electric. They need to sound like they've been tailgating since 1:00, and I want them to be rowdy.
I think you're going to get that.
I think we are as well.
I really do. Just this has started as perfectly as a season could have started for build up to this. To nip at night against Miami for the victory bell, Oklahoma looming. I feel like the Bengals laying an absolute egg on Sunday. I feel like this town is starting to look at this Bearcats team and going, well, this is interesting. Let's see what they got. I do think Nippert is going to be outstanding.
It needs to be loud. It needs to be chaotic. It needs to be a 12th man, if you will. And I think that the crowd will certainly play a factor into making Miami very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I agree. So I am with you. These all, I think when we get to Oklahoma, our keys are going to be a little bit different. But for now, they're all pretty much similar. They're not too far apart. I think keep it balanced. Miami's not good against the run or the pass defensively. So I don't think you need to try to play keep away. They have a bad rushing defense. They have a bad pass defense. So
I also don't want to play keep away. I want to play takeaway.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Now that you explained it, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But go over the top to D. Wiggins. Go over the top to Xavier Henderson. Be creative with Braden Smith. I think you can unleash all of your weapons against this Miami defense. They were terrible against Miami. They were not good against UMass, and UMass is dreadful. This is a bad Miami defense. So come out, keep it creative, like Keegan talked about, and attack them. You don't have to sit on the ball in this game. I want to see 21 points in the first quarter.
I agree.
I want to see you.
Then we are on the same page, then, in that regard.
Yeah. I want to see you put your foot on their throat immediately. Don't have this bullshit like last year where it was 17-7 Miami in the middle of the second quarter. No, absolutely not. Under pressure. You have to, I'm right there with you on that, Aaron. You have to, and the thing is, I think they can do it with 4. I think they can do it with 5. I think at times they can do it with 3. Like, I don't think this offensive line of Miami stands any chance. And you guys know I pumped the brakes a little bit on this defensive line. It's more of a let's wait and see. Like, let's figure out exactly what we've got before we start getting, to the point where we're calling them one of the best defensive lines in the country. Well, they are wreaking havoc already through 2 games. So get at
to the point where not even the refs set his feet. The refs don't even know what to do with this defensive line.
Right. Key number 3, ding ding. Remember the importance of the rivalry, respect the rivalry, and use the respect of the rivalry to do exactly what we're talking about and beat the hell out of them early. No hanging around, no, game is in the balance at halftime, have to make adjustments and, figure out what it's going to take to get out and nip it with a win. No. This is the first Saturday regular season nip at night since 2017. That place is going to be electric at kickoff. Use that to your advantage and just overwhelm them. Overwhelm them and ring that bell for the 17th time in a row. And have 23 transfers go try to pick that stupid thing up. And watch because this is one of my favorite things over the last 17 years is watching new guys and the look on their face when the veterans are like, pick up the bell. And the new guys are like, oh, this is easy. And then they're seeing the training room on Sunday for a hernia diagnosis. The thing's heavy as shit, man.
Don't get a hernia before Oklahoma.
Right. No hernias before Oklahoma. So there's 3 keys. Guys got any questions? We got one right here. I'll let you guys tackle this. How do you guys think DeSean Pace has done in coverage so far?
Before I answer that, Chad, we've been doing too many of these together that we had almost identical.
Yeah, they're almost like we think the same now.
It's weird. I'm not comfortable with that. How do I think DP's done in coverage so far? Go ahead, Keegan. I don't want to take any of your shine.
I'll play devil's advocate. I don't think he's done excellent. I think I've seen him coming off the edge a ton. There's also a thing of I don't know if he's been truly tested to the point where we have a good enough sample size to make a hard and fast decision on that of whether he's been good or bad. But from the small things that I've seen, I haven't seen really what I expected in coverage or maybe what he did his freshman and sophomore year. But he's been in a lot of plays in the backfield, and he's really helping the rush defense. But coverage, I think I'm going to wait and see Miami and Oklahoma for me to say he needs work. He's more of a edge rusher, more linebacker than safety.
I'll say this for DP. He has not yet been picked on the way that we saw Justin Harris get picked on. EKU did not pick on him. I don't feel like they targeted him specifically. So I think that he's been at least serviceable at this point. Nothing short of that for sure.
He has been over aggressive a couple times.
But he also was the one who made the tackle when he was over aggressive trying to jump the route.
That was just 15 yards downfield.
I mean, the fact that he was the one who caught up 50 after being on the ground trying to jump the route. But yeah, I think that, like I said, I think he's been at worst serviceable, but he's certainly not been their best coverage guy. Jordan Young owns that.
Oh yeah,
without question.
That's something that needs to be talked about more.
Yeah, I've been bringing that up a little bit, like broaching that topic because I do think we have glossed over that a little. But if Miami can't complete passes on Jordan Young, what do they do for offense? They don't have anything else on offense.
Yeah. Besides
that connection. Keegan, you did the work. What do they do if that 1-2 punch isn't working for them?
He pretty much sits back and gets sacked because watching a lot of the UMass stuff, and I put this in my preview, Gabbert would look away from Larvadane to his first read, and then immediately just throw it up in single coverage. And he would catch it and run for like 40 yards. So if Larvadane's not open, they don't really have anything. I covered Miles Marshall at Indiana. He's a fine, consistent, reliable receiver, but he's not a Gage Larvadane, and he hasn't shown that he can be a difference maker thus far. So
how big is Larvadane? Somebody asked that.
5'9", 5'10". I'd say he's a Braden Smith type size. But
so Smith's like 5'11-ish, I think.
No height that any of our corners can't cover.
Yeah, no.
Right.
No, he's not Calvin Johnson by any means.
No one is.
I'm just saying. Height that can't cover, that's like 6'3",
Keegan?
6'4", and above. What?
You could have
That
said
was the whole point of my statement.
You went Calvin Johnson. I mean, you could have gone Xavier Henderson.
I wouldn't say Xavier. I wouldn't say Xavier Henderson is too tall to not be able to cover.
He's no Nick Martiner.
You went for the biggest receiver to ever, maybe ever.
He's no Alec Pierce. Is that better?
Sure.
Yeah, he's not winning jump balls at 40 yards, 50 yards down the field.
I mean, he did once against UMass in single coverage, and I don't know why they continue doing single coverage.
Because it's UMass.
Go Minutemen.
Oh.
Frank Martin.
We've touched on this a little bit. I'll get your guys' thoughts here. Future of the Miami series after the current contract is up. Permanent PBS where the stadium capacity isn't artificially reduced seems like the best possible solution. It's not, Keith. It's not, because
I don't ever want to play PBS again.
Well, it's I don't mind it, but there are just a lot of things that you lose money on playing at PBS. Like, they're one's Pepsi, one's Coke, one's Donato's, not anymore, but just all the crossovers of things that you can't do at PBS that Cincinnati has contracts with cause a problem. Parking causes a problem. And why would, if you're Miami, why would you sign up to play a neutral site, not make any money, and basically all you're getting is a split of revenue from PBS, and that revenue is impacted because less money is able to be made because you have to break all of these contracts that come with it. So
and if you're Cincinnati, there's no way in hell you're going to Miami ever again.
No, there is. There's
I would want to
very
see
much.
It.
You think?
Yes, Aaron, because guess what happens? Here's the real only advantage of playing Miami is that it's somewhat of a home and home that Cincinnati doesn't have to pay for. They don't pay for Miami to come to Nippert. If it becomes a situation where they're only playing games at Nippert, Miami is going to want $1.2 million a year, $1.5 million a year to not have any games at their place. Like that's what buy games cost. And if you're only playing at UC, then Dave and I talked about this Wednesday, we're almost in a position where it's actually smarter for Miami to want to cancel this series than it is for Cincinnati to want to stop playing it. Because if you're Miami, you can either do one of two things with this game. You can go get $1.5 million payday every year, or you can schedule another UMass and get to 7 or 8 wins instead of fighting to get to 6 or 7 wins and barely be bowl eligible. Like, you can do this one of two ways if you're them if you don't play Cincinnati. So if you look at it like pragmatically, if you look at it like business sense, Miami also almost gains more by them wanting to end the series. If you're Cincinnati, it works great because you don't have to pay. You go up to Oxford every 2, 3 years, 4 years, whatever. If you keep PBS in the rotation, Paycor Stadium in the rotation, whatever it is. But it's one of those things. It's $120 30 years or whatever. Kenny, thank you for the super sticker. Awesome. Much appreciated. But other than that, like, what good does it do either program right now? Because the gap is only going to get bigger.
Yeah.
Like we have not even gotten to a point where Cincinnati is making 40, 50, 60, 70 million dollars a year off of athletics, and Miami's making 3, 2, whatever. Like that part is coming. The elevation of Cincinnati's recruiting, it's going to keep going like this. And there's nothing Miami can do about it. Like there's no higher aspiration for their program. So the gap is only going to get wider. I used to be cancel the series. There's nothing in it for anybody. It doesn't do anybody any good. But we are now at the point where, like, if you're going to play a G5 game, just play Miami. And maybe you can help elevate them, that they can say to kids every year in the region, you're going to get your shot to beat Cincinnati because they didn't recruit you. They didn't think you were good enough. Whatever, like, you know, the recruiting sales pitch that they can conjure up that would be appealing to kids to get them to go to Miami instead of another MAC school. But if I'm Miami, I would cancel this series. Go get paid. Yeah. And the thing is, who wouldn't? Kentucky, Penn State, Purdue, Indiana, Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, West Virginia, Pitt. They'd all love to have a Miami as their G5 bye game. So they've got marketability in that realm. They're just using one of their spots to continue to play the rivalry game. If I were them, I would want out. And that's probably not a popular take, but I would. I would be like, look, it's not, we're not gaining anything financially. We only get to play at our stadium once every 3 or 4 years. And when we do play at our stadium, it becomes Nippert, you know, Northwest or whatever. Like there's 15,000 UC fans there. They get the money from that, I guess, is nice. But I don't know. Like, rivalry aside, I think I would be like, look, I'm good. Like, you guys go do your own thing. Schedule, you know, pay whatever you have to pay to have other MAC schools come in and play at Nippert Stadium. But I think we're going to go check out what's best for us. I don't know.
You're muted.
Maybe I'm crazy. You're muted.
I'd be all right if they revisited it every decade.
2029 is when the contract comes up. Like, this cycle runs through 2029.
How many more at PBS through that cycle? Any?
I think just one.
One? Okay.
I think. I'd have to look it up, but I think just one more at PBS. 2 at most.
Gotcha.
But, I mean,
what would be the best option to replace that Miami series? In
you
terms
just bring
of,
in a rotational bye game group of 5.
I know, but it's also like you have to think about how much it costs to travel, hotel. Like you're basically doing like a high school game. Like you're driving. I'm assuming you're driving there the day of and leaving right after, and you're sleeping in your dorm.
No.
Are they getting a hotel in Oxford?
And most teams, I mean, maybe I'm wrong on this. Almost every team I know of is in a hotel the night before every game, in one way, shape, or form.
Even if it's 40 minutes down the road. Okay.
UC will be in a hotel tomorrow night to play a game at 7 o'clock at Nippert Stadium.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, that's just what teams do. It's part of the routine that's set up so that things are controlled.
Yeah, Ryan went into pretty good detail on what the routine is for a game night into a game day on Monday's mailbag. If you didn't listen to all 2 hours and 45 minutes of that show.
I just don't know. Like, I don't think the fan base would be against playing at Jaeger once every 3 or 4 years, because they can just drive to an away game. That's one away game that they can easily go to. I don't think the tickets would be that expensive. And then it's everything that you said about Miami winning out. Like Cincinnati should want the rivalry. Like I don't know what you're going to replace it with, especially with how far down schedules are booked now. Like some people book till 2036.
The thing is, like the $1.5 million for a buy game really isn't that big of a deal anymore because you have the money. Like you can afford it. It's going to be in the budget. You're not working on a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't mind it. It doesn't bother me like it used to. It used to bother me a lot. It doesn't anymore.
I also think the competition level that Miami brings is like legitimate. It's not a EKU rollover. Like they're only 17 points.
Sometimes when they're not sitting their starters.
Yeah, we've had a couple bad experiences recently where Chuck Martin was just like, "Look, we're playing to win the MAC. Like, our guy has a bruise on his shin. He got kicked in the shin in practice yesterday, so he's out." Well, what else you guys want to get to?
Nick Bauer says,
there you go. This is a good one.
Calling it now, Bearcats get their first defense/special teams touchdown of the season this week.
But who is it, Nick? Because that's an interesting question of who it would be. I have one.
If I give you plus 500, are you taking it? On defense,
no.
Special teams touchdown.
No.
At plus 500? No.
I need 1,100.
1,100.
Yeah.
I'm not saying first touchdown. I'm not saying
Nick said, the Godfather pick six.
There's your 1,100 right there.
Yeah. No,
Godfather pick six.
11,000.
Godfather scoop and score.
I'm thinking DeSean Pace blocked punt. That would be my pick.
I was going to say, I could see, like, if it's going to be a special teams, it's going to be a DeSean Pace block. He's going to get somebody. He's going to get somebody. And punt or field goal, he's going to get somebody. Threats
isn't a bad pick either, EK.
Well, especially if they're just trying to force the ball over the top and Cincinnati plays some kind of cover 2 or cloud to keep the ball from going deep. Threats would definitely be a great example.
I do think a Daniel Greshik strip DeSean Pace recovery for 6 is a formula that would very easily work. Especially like both of them coming off the end, one pops it loose, then Pace picks it up. I could see that happening.
What else we got?
I did like, I was going to click on that.
If Coach Sat stays a while, could you see a UC App State game happen? I'd love to go to Boone. I can't see it being a 1-1 series.
No. There's not really anything to gain there.
I mean, I'd do a home and home. If Miami wasn't on the schedule, I'd do a home and home with Appy.
If you get rid of my
Satterfield would.
So the contract with Miami,
he's still loved there.
I know.
The contract with Miami runs through 29, right? So unless you're buying out early of the contract, you're assuming Sat stays here until 2030. Come on.
Yeah. And most of those schedules all the way through 29 are done. Like they're booked up.
But what they're saying, if Coach Sat is here, I don't see him saying, you know what, I'm going to go risk getting beat by a team that I coached at 2 jobs ago when there are so many other options that I could pay good money to line up for a home and home.
Especially when you saw Brian Kelly give Cincinnati the opportunity.
That's an all-time quote. That's an all-time quote.
I wouldn't be giving App State the opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, I would. Like, I don't know. I think that would be exciting. I think that would be like a marquee, like that would, especially if he starts off here and and wins. Appy State is like that beloved, like you never know at the beginning of the season who Appy State is gonna like. They had North Carolina on the ropes, which is why Satterfield probably wouldn't want to do it, of course. But from a marketing perspective, from a fan perspective, I think it'd be a fun little like we'll play you 1 year and then maybe go back to your place in 2 or 3 years after that. But yeah, Aaron, we're talking 2030. Like if he's still here at that point, things have gone really, really well, and he has just like decided to plant roots in Cincinnati.
Not a bad thing, by the way.
No. Eric says, well, I'd love to go to Boone for a game. Do not play Appy State. I also, like, I have an ulterior motive for going to Appy State for a game. It is not far from Asheville, and I could get Biscuit Head on the way there and on the way back.
What are the chances that he tries to schedule a Power 5 non-conference opponent? Because after 2026, it's getting bleak for who they're playing in terms of schedule.
I mean, like that's,
I still think you have to buy out. I think you have to buy out the at Ohio game.
Yeah, that one.
2025, they play Nebraska, and then after that, it's Boston College as your toughest non-conference opponent.
Yeah, that's the year that it's Boston College at Ohio and somebody else.
Miami, Western Kentucky.
Miami.
At Western, is it at Western Kentucky or is that at home?
No, that's at home, and then 27. Wait, maybe it's 25. 25 is at Western Kentucky, which I actually
it's
like
2
that
road
stadium.
games. At Ohio, at Western Kentucky. One of those is not going to be on the schedule. Jude said Biscuit Head is the truth. Went there in March, and it was fantastic. It's the best breakfast I've ever had, Juice.
2026 is at Ohio, home against Western Kentucky. 25 is at Western Kentucky.
Okay.
So there's not dual road games. Why would you schedule a game at Ohio? I don't know.
I don't know. The same reason that UC plays at Miami in 24, 27, and 29.
I thought NC State was on the schedule, or am I crazy? I
thought they were at some point. I don't know.
I love looking at these non-conference schedules in like 2047. It's the best.
Isn't there a Biscuit Head in Louisville?
No.
I thought there was.
There's a bunch of places that have kind of sprung up that are copycats of Biscuit Head. There's 3 in Asheville. There's 1 in Greenville, I think, South Carolina. But it is one of a kind. It's so good. It's so good. Now you've got me wanting to just schedule a weekend trip to Asheville on the bye week so I can have some Biscuit Head. But whatever.
Your daughter's a foodie. She'd be down for a road trip.
Oh, she's been to Biscuit Head when she was little. She loved it. They had peach flavored bacon the time that we went with her, and she was like, "Oh my god, this is the best thing I've ever had." And so yeah, she would be down. When we went to Asheville for vacation a couple of years back, and the dog tried to eat my face, and I had to get stitches, and then I got antibiotics, and I was allergic to the antibiotics. So I got sick for 24 hours. My family was like, well, we came here to go to Biscuit Head, so I know you can't eat and you're sick as shit. We're just going to leave you here and go to Biscuit Head and eat, and we'll tell you about it. It was very nice of them.
I definitely ate at a biscuit restaurant in Louisville, and there's like 4 of them that are not Biscuit Head. So
yeah, there's a bunch. Like it's kind of there's one here in Northern Kentucky, or it was downtown too, but I think that closed. Boomtown Biscuits and Bourbon, or Biscuits and Whiskey, whatever. It's a thing that kind of started in Asheville. The place is awesome.
Gotcha.
I don't know. You guys got anything else you want to shoot the shit about? Or are we good?
We answered the Nebraska question. They are still coming here in 2025. That did not get canceled.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I don't know like what that contract is like because that first game did not get played where they came here. There are some outs that have.
Is it like the Xavier Crosstown shootout where they're just like?
Well, I mean, but like the way
We'll
it is now,
it.
like it's a home and home where the one leg of the home didn't get played. So I would imagine if they're going to play Nebraska in 2025, that there would be a date at Nippert that would be added, to honor the spirit of the contract. Because if not, then it's a buy game, and I want my $1.8 million.
I get it.
No non-conference opponents for 2030 right now.
Right. Yeah. So that's kind of when we're at a clean slate going forward, and you would expect the way that these things are done within the next couple of years, you would start hearing like this is what things are going to look like. Although I want it to be like basketball scheduling. Like do that shit the year or two before where
you don't leave the city.
No. Where I'm talking about like
when Xavier gets their football team going.
Yeah. Where like what or at least you have a pretty good idea of what the team you're playing is going to be. I hate this. Like we scheduled a game in 2034 in 2025. Like you have 9 years. You have no idea what that football program is going to look like.
What's your dream home and home? 2030, 2031, 2029, 2030.
I mean, I'd love to see the Keg come back like we're seeing
Louisville
for 2 years. Yeah.
I know
it's something that's probably never going to happen because they're already obligated to the Kentucky series. Like they're probably not going to want another, rivalry game, non-con rivalry game kind of pigeonholed in there.
I'd be okay with Kentucky.
Yeah.
But for the same reason, they don't want to do it either. They've got 8 SEC games and Louisville. They need 3 wins somewhere. You schedule Cincinnati and you lose to Louisville, you might be back to 4-8 Kentucky.
Isn't the SEC playing one less conference game though than everybody else?
They play 8.
Yeah, so
for now.
They got some flexibility until they start scheduling 9.
That's going to be not. They've got 30 teams. They're going to have to play 9.
That's on them. That's a them problem, not a us problem.
I clicked on Notre Dame schedules because I think that would be a fun home and home, and then it lists like
they're not
9 teams on non-conference games. I was like, what the heck? And then I remembered, oh yeah, they're not in the conference.
Right.
They play Alabama in 2029.
They're not giving us that opportunity again anytime soon, Keegan.
That would be a fun one, though.
When do you schedule Ohio State again?
Never.
Ever?
I think Michigan State would be a good one.
Yeah. Possibly.
Go back to Cali. Do USC instead of UCLA.
I mean, I'd be down. If Southland and the Boner were still there, I think that would have been maybe a possibility.
Okay.
Does LSU want to give us the opportunity?
No. You think BK is going back to that mistake?
Wisconsin. Oh.
Arkansas State.
Yeah.
I don't know. Danco Joe's in the chat giving out your recipe. Wants to make sure it's correct, Chad. He said, take the rolls, split open, add grated cheddar, mustard, and onions to taste, spread on chili mixture, add top roll, brush with garlic butter, bake at 350.
Well, I mean, it's a 3-parter. 2 pounds ground beef, 1 package Cincy chili seasoning,
I missed that
small
one.
package Velveeta, King's Hawaiian, slider rolls. I don't do 2 packs of hot dogs. I would do 1 pack of hot dogs. Those go a long way. So you don't want to overdo the hot dogs. Ground beef, drain, add Cincy chili seasoning. Don't drain all the fat. You want a little bit in there. The Cincy chili seasoning will soak some of that up. Add Velveeta, hot dog mix until it's the right consistency. And then, split open the rolls, put the meat down, add the cheddar and mustard, onions to taste. I would put the meat down first and then do the cheese, onions, mustard, all that on top. But that's the basics, Joe. You got it.
I'm all for scheduling a home and home with the U.
That would be an interesting one. Like we've already done that. Like that's already. I mean, they flew a banner overhead to fire Al Golden.
It's been a little while.
That's one of the things I will never forget. It was also when I decided I would never gamble. I think I've told that story here before, have I not, Aaron?
I've never heard it.
I don't know that you have.
Cincinnati going into that Miami game at Nippert with Tuberville, they had like 8 or 9. Like they had a bunch of starters on both, like multiple starters on both sides of the ball that were out. And we knew this like Tuesday at practice.
You told me this story off air, not on air.
Okay. So Friday the line starts fluctuating, and my buddy who does gamble a lot hits me up and he's like, why is this line kind of jumping? Like, is something happening? And I was like, well, I mean, UC's got a bunch of starters that aren't going to play. They're not very good to begin with. Like, I know Miami's struggling, but like, I find it hard to believe Cincinnati is going to win this game. I find it hard to believe Cincinnati is going to win this game. And they dominated. Like, they kicked Miami's ass. And it was from that point forward, I was like, nope, I'm not. He bet. I think he bet a pretty good. I think it was definitely more than one unit. Like, more than one unit. And he just sent me a text after the game, like, huh. And I was like, look, man, like, I don't know what to tell you. There were 7 starters out, and they weren't very good to begin with. Like, I did not envision them kicking Miami's ass on that evening at Nippert Stadium, but they did. And I was like, I don't think the gambling stuff's for me. Because there's no logic to it. Like, even if you think you're right, there's a very good chance that you're wrong.
And if you think you're right, Vegas will trick you into thinking you're wrong, like they did with Colorado.
Right.
That was
trickery
insane.
And tomfoolery.
Well, now, like, look, they had Pitt like a significant favorite over Cincinnati, and now they have Pitt like 1.5 over West Virginia. Who West Virginia is nowhere near as good as Cincinnati, but it's early in the season. They're adjusting. They're trying to figure out like what lines work for what teams and whatnot and what have you. But like, I don't know. It's not for me. It would just be trouble because I know I would be like, look, I know I'm right on this one. I have the information. I know I'm right. And then you place the bet, and then there's a backdoor cover, or somebody fumbles on the last play of the game and it gets picked up and ran in for a touchdown. Like that shit. Like, even when I was gambling a little bit last year or in the spring when I was in the hospital all the time. Yeah. Like, even then I was just like I'm just picking who I think is going to win. I don't want anything to do with the spread. I don't want anything to do with anything. I just know this team is going to win. It might be by 1. But I know that's the team that's going to win, and that's how I would bet.
Yeah, some of my friends would put all their bonus bets on Cincinnati minus 2.5 at Miami of Ohio. Guess who only won by 2?
Right.
Some of my friends lost a lot of money.
You weren't one of them, though.
No, absolutely not. What are you talking
just
about?
Some of them. Yeah, just some of your friends.
I want to go on the record saying some of my friends.
Some other names that are ending up in the chat here. Penn State, home and home. I'd be all for like South Carolina, Ole Miss,
Michigan.
No, we've already
We've
done
done
this.
that before. I
They should have won that game. They should have won that game.
Right in the bread
Never.
basket.
Nope.
Fuck that guy. Screw Harbaugh. Oh, Pitt is plus 2.5. They aren't favored. Yeah, West Virginia's the favorite in that game. Like,
It's a
that's
rivalry game on the road.
But West Virginia stinks.
You
Apparently
think
so does
that's
Pitt.
you think that's what breaks Neil Brown's back for him getting
If they
fired
lose
is
to
losing?
Pitt?
Yeah.
I mean, it's up there. Like,
It's not a great look when your recruits are canceling visits to go somewhere
Yeah.
else.
yeah.
When I saw that
For the
tweet
backyard
pop up,
brawl.
when
Like,
I
you
saw
would
that
think,
tweet
like-
pop up, I was like, "This doesn't happen very often."
Yeah. I mean, I would go to the backyard brawl.
Yeah.
Like, that's a fun game. And those people hate each other.
Yeah.
Legit.
Except when the Steelers are playing, and then they all love each other
Then
because
they're all best friends at that point.
they're
in
all
time.
crazy people. Fuck the Steelers.
All right. Well, thanks, Keegan. It was
You're
good to
welcome.
have you.
Thanks
Love
for
hearing
having me.
from you. If you make the cheese coney sliders, let me know. Yanko Joe's got the recipe in the chat.
I do really want to try those now. I'm very excited.
I will have them. I've contemplated even making 2 batches because the last time they were gone fast. So
Now you're on to something.
I might make 2. We'll see how it goes. That's gonna wrap it up. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. We'll see you. We'll see you Saturday night, late Saturday night.
Not
Or
as
a
late as
live
BYU.
nightcap. Not as late as BYU. That one might be Saturday morning.
No,
See
come
how that
on,
goes.
stay up.
I'll be up.
I'll be up. I just might not be able to talk. It's going to be like 2:00 in the morning.
Later than that. It'll be way later than that.
Right. All right. We'll see you next time. Thanks to Galactic Fried Chicken. This is the Nightcap brought to you by BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!